Y'all, I am so bothered. I literally just did this whole thing and then the audio just didn't want to pop up. Like there was no audio. I was like, what happened? But yeah, welcome to Genesis 1. I did say in another video, I don't exactly remember which one, but I said that I was gonna be going over the entire Bible, every like single chapter in its own video. So this will take a long time, but I actually did want to start this. So, yeah, we're going to be going from the beginning of Genesis to the end of Revelations. And for Genesis 1, the creation story specifically, I read it in like different translations, and in the KJV, it just made like the most sense, except for the last paragraph. I'm going to switch for that. But everything else just made a lot more, like, it was just a lot more clear and like actually like raised a few questions in a good way. So, yeah, I'd say let's just start with this video. So, yeah, verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. So, the heaven and the earth, one. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the surface of the deep. So, first, without form and void. So, formless and empty, basically, and darkness. So, basically, yeah, darkness was upon the surface of the deep. So, what exactly is the surface of the deep? I mean, you could just do a quick Google search. It'll give you like a pretty good answer. The phrase surface of the deep in Genesis 1 2 refers to the primordial state of the earth, characterized by darkness and chaos before God's creation brought order and form. So, the primordial state of the earth, characterized by darkness and chaos. So, what exactly does that mean? I mean, it goes into a specific theory. It's called the gap theory interpretation. Not saying this is like literally like absolute fact because of course we don't know, but this is basically what it is, that there was the original earth and that Satan was the anointed cherub to cover it. Like there's references here and there, and then the chaotic earth was probably a result of Satan's fall, and then the restored earth would be the creation week, not creation billion years, not the creation week. But yeah, the theory is that there's a gap right here before the creation week and before or right after God created the heaven and the earth. So yeah, that's a theory. I mean, I'd say like go look into it if you are curious, but that's basically what like it kind of leads to, or not leads to, but that's where the theory comes from. And the Spirit of God moved upon the surface of the waters, so there was waters there. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. So, and the evening and the morning were the first day. That's how they measured time in during the Hebrew time or Israelite time. They measured it by the sun, or like that's how like evening and morning were. So that's how they measured the days. So yeah, I do believe that these days were literal. Nowhere does it say like oh like billions of years past. Like I feel like they would have just said that if that was the case, to be honest. But yeah, so this first part created the heaven and the earth. The earth was chaotic and empty, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters, and God said, "Let there be light." This specific part, "Let there be light." Is this the sun? No. Is that's in day 4, I believe. But God, there's verses that talk about that God is light, and in Him there is no darkness. First John 1:5 says that, or that God has unapproachable light, that is First Timothy 6:16. Or even if you want to look at like a specific example of light being used like without the sun for a specific purpose, um would be when Jesus blind Paul. We all remember this story that he was blinded by Paul. Or Jesus blinded Paul, sorry. And yeah, he was blind for a certain amount of time. I forgot how much, but yeah, that was like the light of Jesus. Like God is light, in him there is no darkness, and Jesus cast the light on Paul. And that's not the sun, that's light. So it's different. So yeah, and then this is when night was created before the moon and everything else. So yeah, second day, and God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." So two waters, symbolic or literal, we'll see. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. So this word, firmament. In modern translations, they treat it as expanse, but in the KJV, they actually use the word firmament. And what exactly is it? Do not kill me, but this is literally what firmament means. Like I'm not saying that this is the absolute truth or anything, because there's a lot more that goes into it besides just one word. But this is how flat earthers would use the firmament. So the firmament would be basically be like a crystal-like dome, and heaven would be right there. And then you have the waters above and the waters below, which is the sea, of course. So that's how they define it in globe terms that we're all familiar with. It would basically look like this: the crust, the ocean, lakes, and seas would be the waters below, so the ones that we know. And then Earth's surface, which would be the land or the earth. And then the clouds would be where the air and birds are around. So the air would be here and the birds fly here, and the atmosphere would be the firmament, which is the most logical conclusion from the globe. And then the waters above would be purely symbolic, and then outer space, and then heaven would be, good question. Where would heaven be? But yeah. So the waters above would be basically not even possibly symbolic. According to the globe, it has to be purely symbolic. Just so I have like a reference for this. But purely symbolic would be the waters above that, or we just don't know where it is, like that water's above. But yeah. So this would basically be what it is. So yeah, the firmament is defined in two ways: either flat Earth way or the globe way would be just the atmosphere. So however you want to take this, to me, this is a fourth tier like issue. Like it's not even like a third, secondary, or primary issue. It's a fourth tier doctrine. Like whether you or not you want to believe either one, go ahead. But then for specifically like the whole flat Earth thing, it goes into the validity of um NASA. So then you go into like this, and then it talks about how like NASA in Hebrew means to deceive. So then it's like a whole conspiracy theory. Like that's what it is a conspiracy theory. So you kind of just take it with a grain of salt, or however you want to take it. Like if you want to take this fact, go ahead. Like to me, it's irrelevant because the shape of the earth is not going to define your salvation of your faith in Christ, or in the Trinity, or how you take sola scriptura, or how you define sola fide. Like none of that has anything to do with it. So that's why I treat it as like a fourth tier issue. So any of the ones you want to believe, like go ahead. If you want to think that the earth is a cube, go ahead. But yeah, so that was the second day. So that's when the firmament was created. So it could be the atmosphere or the dome. And third day, oh yeah, these days are very literal. Also, evening and morning was the second day. I think I said that at the beginning, but yeah. Day three, and God said, "Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he sees, or the seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after its kind, whose seed is in itself, upon the earth." And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after its kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day. So, day three, so that the waters under the heaven be gathered together into one place, or under the firmament, however is defined. And let the dry land appear. So this is how the continents basically came to be, and called the dry land earth. So earth. And the gathering together of the waters called seas. So that's how the oceans, lakes, ponds, everything came to be. And God saw that it was good. And then God said, "Let the earth bring forth grass." So this is where the grass, plants, trees, bushes with fruits in it. So that's where it all came to be. And because he said that, it all came to be. So God is literally the definition of speaking things into existence. Like what he decrees is so. So it's like kind of, what it is. Like, for example, you can just look at Ezekiel 18:4, where it says, "Behold, all souls are mine." So this is God Yahweh speaking. "All souls are mine, as the soul of the Father, so also the soul of the Son is mine. The soul that sinneth, it shall die." So he's decreeing that the soul that sins shall die. So yeah, whatever he decrees, it is so. And also going back to the whole actually I can save that for after. But yeah, so that was the third day, and then we move on to the fourth day. And God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth." And it was so. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also, and God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. So again, very literal. But Yeah, fourth day would be the sun and the moon, of course. So let there be lights in the firmament. So when they say in, it really does sound like it's not very far, because then you ask how far is the sun? Because then it goes also into the validity of NASA again, because it says in the firmament atmosphere, and it's not very like it wouldn't be very far. Like it's not like those millions and billions of light years away. Like it doesn't sound very far, but that's the whole validity of NASA. It's a whole different topic. Like I said, or I said this in the first recording, but all this, like specifically like stuff like the firmament, is a whole different video. Like the gap theory interpretation is a whole nother video. Like stuff like the sun would go into the firmament and all that. Like it would all go together in like a separate video, but this talking about creation specifically, and this we're talking about the creation, not exactly how far, what is. Like this is how God created everything. He spoke it and it was so. It was so. So yeah, this is where the greater light to rule the day, the sun was made, and the lesser light to rule the night, which is the moon. Also saying that he made the stars also. So set them in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth and to rule the day and over the night. Because God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. It feels way too far to be like, firmament of the heaven. It raises a lot of questions. Not saying to believe one or the other, but I'm saying it just brings a lot of questions with the creation story specifically. So then it says, and God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And God created great whales, and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful, and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. So again, literal evening and morning, a fifth day. Nowhere does it say that's billions of years. But yeah. So let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that has life. So this is where all the animals from the waters came to be. And fowl just means bird in modern English. So, and birds that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven, open atmosphere, however you want to take it. And God created great whales and every living creature that moves, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged bird after his kind, and God saw that it was good. So yeah, the creatures from the seas came to be, and also all the birds of the sky came to be, and God saw that it was good. And God's command and blessing was saying, be fruitful and multiply and fill the waters in the seas and let birds multiply in the earth. And then evening and morning were the fifth day. So, yeah, God blessed them. And his first command to them was to be fruitful and multiply, fill the waters in the seas, and let birds multiply in the earth. And then, yeah. So then this is day 6, yeah. Day 6. And God said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beasts of the earth after his kind, and it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. So let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beasts of the earth after his kind. So this would be like lions, tigers, and then cattle would be like cow, of course, and every creeping thing would be all the bugs of the earth, and it was so. And they all came to be. And God saw that it was good. And then the fun part. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. And our image, representing the Trinity, of course, and after our likeness, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and let them have dominion over the fish. So the man will have dominion over all these things. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female, he created him. And this is very confusing because some people take the male and female right here as Adam and Eve. Some people take it as male and female before Adam and Eve. But yeah, I've heard theistic evolutionists say that this would be basically the human before, which I mean you can't argue it, but then they argue what is the image of God, but then God created man in his own image in here anyway. So what exactly is the image of God? It could be bodily and spiritually, or purely bodily, purely it can't be purely spiritually. It can't. And God blessed them, And God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it. So God blessed them, and his first command was to be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the air and over every living thing that moves upon the earth. So that's his the command to them as well. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. So let's switch to the LSB for this, because when they say every plant for meat, it kind of confuses people, including me when I first read this. But yeah, so God said, behold, I've given you every plant, so it shall be food for you. So it's just food. That's basically all it is. So fruits of the tree. So humans were herbivores at the beginning, and to every beast of the earth, and to every bird of the sky, and to everything that creeps the earth, which has life, I have given every green plant for food. And it was so. So they were, including the animals, they were all herbivores as well. There was no killing going on, no nothing. It was just herbivores eating grass and plants. So that was it. And God saw all that he had made, because first of all, death is bad, living is good, which is why there was no killing, because they were all herbivores. So God saw all that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And there was evening and there was morning, the sixth day. Again, literal days. So yeah, that is the creation story. Like, and then chapter 2 also goes into the creation of Adam, specifically Adam and Eve. But yeah, there's a big like kind of like discussion talking about whether or not the male and female are exactly Adam and Eve, or if there's humans before, and what exactly were they. But the thing is that they were in his own image, so we don't exactly know. But then I heard theistic evolutionists argue um that they weren't in his own image. It wasn't until Adam was in his own image, but these male and females were created in his own image. So it raised a lot of questions. Like I said, all of this raises a lot of questions. Genesis 1 is very difficult to grasp, to be honest. But yeah, so said this like a billion times. It raises a lot of questions, but I'd say go look for yourself. I'd really say go look into this like as much as you can, like whether it comes to the firmament or the gap interpretation theory or the whole man and women in our image. Um, not saying any of these are right or wrong, but I'm saying like go look into it, because I think it's good. I think it's good to look into it and really study it. But yeah, that is Genesis 1, like the main creation story. Um, and people take it as like poetry or like symbolic. It's a literal 6 days. I'm telling you, it's a literal 6 days. If there's one thing you would take as fact, it would be that it was a literal 6 days, and that God actively created everything. Not that like it evolved over billions of years. No, God actively created everything, and God created everything in 6 days. Why? Because Exodus 20:11 also says, when it's blessing the Sabbath, that Yahweh, in 6 days, Yahweh made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested on the Sabbath day. Therefore, Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. So, yes, it was a 6 days. So that's like kind of like the main takeaway, that one, it was 6 days, and two, that God actively created everything, not that he just created one thing and then let it just be for billions of years and like all these killings and evolving. No, that wasn't what happened. So yeah, that's Genesis 1. I love to hear you guys' thoughts on this, because of course Genesis, like I said, is a very difficult chapter to really like put together, like kind of process or grasp or understand. So yeah, I'd love to get you guys' thoughts on this, and I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, thank you for watching.